usually the impulse is there's a certain moment that I have that I feel like I want to express, and because music is an art form that takes place in a certain amount of time, I mean, you can't really walk up to the canvas and just walk away, or you can turn it off really. So I think that almost all of the things I do are based on that impulse to expand a moment in time. And again, there's a certain unreality of doing that because things don't actually take the time frame unless you're writing opera or musical theater when you're actually trying to mimic a certain time frame. Because I've been working a little bit on a new piece for the Shroon Ensemble, these great musicians you've been listening to for February, and I know Eric's been doing the same different piece. I've been working with in this case a text. It doesn't have a singer, but I was inspired by there's a great poem called Young Sycamore by William Carlos Williams, and it's a really interesting poem for a couple of reasons. It starts out, the first line is, "I must tell you, this young tree," and it has an incredible sense of urgency behind it, but the poem is just a big subject with no predicate. It's not a complete sentence, so it has this kind of breathless quality. And also it's interesting because it follows from the trunk of a tree all the way up to the tiny little twigs that vanish. But as you're doing that, your eye is going down in the poem. So there's a lot of tension in this. So I guess an example of kind of that moment is that, I had a particular experience reading this poem, and there's something I reacted to about it. And I wanted to do something, I had kind of a conceptual idea for this piece, is that I wanted to write something in which it started in the very lowest instrument in the ensemble, the contrabass, and each instrument that came in basically just played a variation of what the bass's line is, but a little bit off, staggered. So it's almost like looking at this layered time-lapse photograph of a tree or an organism growing from the soil up. And I think it's that was something that I felt was very interesting, to look at that sense of how something can grow and develop yet still be mystically the same. And that's something I alluded to earlier, that sense of how do you change something, but how do you have it retain enough of its identity where you can perceive it.